It's 10 years since the disappearance of flight MH370 and the 239 people on board. Despite 3 investigations into the disappearance across Southeast Asia and the South Pacific Ocean, the location of the aircraft remains unknown. Following new leads based on promising technology, there are renewed calls for the Malaysian government to resume the search. Earlier, we spoke with aviation commentator Geoffrey Thomas to find out if a new search is likely to bring in a result.
Look, absolutely. I'm very, very confident that the next search will find MH370. There's been some amazing breakthroughs in tracking technology, and it revolves around amateur radio signals that are sent out in 2-minute intervals. At any one time, there's 6,000 of them racing around the world, 1.7 billion a year, and they've been recorded in an international database since 2009. So when an aircraft flies through that signal, it disrupts it. That disruption is recorded. So what Mr. Godfrey has done is gone back to the international database, picked up the last known confirmed radar plot of MH370, and then tracked it by the disturbance of these radio signals. And he has plotted 313 anomalies, which is consistent with the drift modelling done by the University of Western Australia. It's consistent with the Inmarsat satellite returns off the aircraft, and it's about 1,560 kilometres west of Perth. This work's been going on for about 3 years, and it's been peer reviewed by the University of Liverpool and other eminent scientists, and it's considered to be the very best chance we have of finding MH370.
Geoffrey, this technology sounds incredible on paper. Has it been tested before, and is there a proven method?
It has been. In fact, it was pioneered by the Finnish Air Force for NATO in 2009, where they tracked a Finnish Air Force fighter from Helsinki down to Riyadh. Also, Mr. Godfrey had done a whole raft of blind tests where he was simply given the runway and the time of takeoff and the runway direction, and then he had to track the aircraft blind to its destination. And he's done that now numerous times as a backup to prove that what he's talking about is absolutely accurate.
OK, so that sounds promising in terms of locating the wreckage, but what about the reason for the disappearance in the first place?
There has been an enormous amount of conspiracy theories surrounding the loss of MH370. There's 120 books been written about the disappearance of MH370, 120, and most of them are bizarre. Within the industry, it's absolutely accepted that this is the work of Captain Sahari Shah, and there's a mountain of evidence that points to him doing it, and even the airline itself privately acknowledges, yes, it was him that did this. It had to be human input. It had to be someone with a great deal of flying skill, because as soon as the plane went black, turned the systems off, it did a very, very hard left turn to avoid Vietnamese air traffic control airspace. And that sort of turn could only be conducted by a very experienced pilot. So it had to be him. There's no question about it.
What does the Malaysian government make of these new leads?
I believe they do not want to find it, because it's going to open up a Pandora's box for them. Compensation claims. It could be all sorts of things. Plus, of course, national embarrassment that one of their pilots committed murder-suicide. And all through history, airlines and countries do not want to own an air crash. So I believe that whether the Malaysians want to come along for the ride or not, it's going to be found. And in fact, this Ocean Infinity company has offered Malaysia a no-find, no-fee deal, yet they still won't agree.
Yeah, well, it is an interesting question, right? Does anyone actually need the Malaysian government's approval to conduct a search?
No, they don't. No one needs any approvals. They can just simply go ahead and find it. It's on the high seas. It's in Australia's search zone. It's in international waters. Yeah, they can go along and find it, and then ask questions afterwards.
Geoffrey, it really does sound like after all of this time, there is a chance it could be found. Geoffrey Thomas, thank you so much for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure.